Today is Saturday, November 16th. Good afternoon for WRCO News. I'm Caitlin O'Connell. Wisconsin achieved a new record high for employment during the October of 2024, according to preliminary estimates from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. The new record for total employment, released by the Department of Workforce Development, breaks the record announced for September data and marks the sixth consecutive monthly record for state employment, highlighting the unprecedented number of workers participating in Wisconsin's economy. Preliminary employment estimates for October 2024 showed Wisconsin's seasonally adjusted unemployment rate remained at 2.9%, which is 1.2 percentage points below the national unemployment rate of 4.1%. In addition, the state's labor force participation rate increased to 65.7% in October, while the national rate ticked down to 62.6%. Governor Tony Evers has ordered the flags of the United States and the state of Wisconsin to be flown at half-staff today in honor of former Wisconsin State Representative Fred Kessler, who died on Tuesday at the age of 84. Former Representative Kessler was elected to the Wisconsin State Assembly as the youngest person to serve the Wisconsin State Legislature at that time, and represented the 10th Milwaukee Assembly District from 1961 to 1963 and from 1965 to 1972, and later the 12th Assembly District from 2005 to 2019. Former Representative Kessler also served as a Milwaukee County judge from 1972 to 1978 and a Milwaukee County Circuit Court judge from 1978 to 1981 and again from 1986 to 1988. Services for former Representative Kessler will be held today in Milwaukee. A new report shows Wisconsin voters approved a record number of school referenda in 2024 elections. The Wisconsin Policy Forum released a study Thursday that found school districts held a record 241 referenda this year. The old record was 240 set in 1998. Voters approved a record 169 referenda, eclipsing the old record of 140 set in 2018. The approved referenda authorized a record of $4.4 billion in new funding for school districts, breaking the old record of $2.7 billion set in 2020. The report attributed the record number of referenda to inflation outpacing increases in the state's per-pupil revenue limits. Wisconsin will place a tax on electric vehicle charging stations starting next year. This means most businesses will have to register their charging stations and pay 3 cents per kilowatt hour delivered. The owners of electric vehicles who have charging stations at their homes will not be subject to the tax. The tax applies to the charging stations at businesses, even ones not used by the public. The Department of Revenue says the tax will allow continued funding for road repairs and construction. As Wisconsin drivers make the switch to electric vehicles, the tax creates an equitable system where all drivers contribute to road maintenance costs. The new tax goes into effect on January 1st. A group of Native American burial mounds was found in Milwaukee's oldest cemetery. A group of researchers from the Ho-Chunk Nation, UW-Milwaukee, Marquette University, and the State Historical Society have uncovered 2 burial mounds at Forest Home Cemetery. Those mounds were originally mapped in the 1800s by the city planner, Increase Lantham, who apparently tried to protect them in the cemetery's design, but the land was later sold as plots by the owners of the cemetery. Plans to preserve the mounds are now pending. And Governor Tony Evers announced 125 years of Wisconsin state parks as the theme for the 2024 State Capitol Holiday Tree and invited students to contribute handmade ornaments celebrating how the park system reflects who Wisconsin is as a state. Each year, the Capitol Holiday Tree is decorated with handmade ornaments from children, students, and families from every corner of the state. This year, students are encouraged to explore Wisconsin state parks for inspiration by reflecting on the state's beautiful and diverse natural spaces, significant historical markers, and the unparalleled recreational and communal value of the Wisconsin state parks. All students and families are welcome to submit ornaments celebrating 125 years of Wisconsin state parks and should mail ornaments by Friday, November 22nd to Emily Gorman, Wisconsin Department of Administration, Division of Facilities and Transportation Services, 17 West Main Street, Suite 119, Madison, Wisconsin, 53703. The Capitol holiday tree is displayed in the rotunda of the Wisconsin State Capitol building throughout the holiday season and serves as a centerpiece of festivity for those visiting and working at the Capitol. Computer users enjoy the convenience of going online to help make tasks such as shopping or paying a bill easier and less time-consuming. Owners of websites that are accessed for those tasks can track the activity an individual does on their website. Michelle Reinen is with the Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection.
There are legitimate companies that track your online activity for several reasons. Some of those are to save your preferences and information, like usernames and passwords, addresses, and items you leave in your shopping cart, so they can send that reminder, don't forget to buy me. But then there could be a way to show you your personalized content, like local weather, stories about topics you're interested in, and advertisements. And another legitimate reason is to gather data about how people use their website apps, like pages they visit, how long they spend on it, and types of devices they're using. And that goes to researching and knowing about their customers.
Precautions should be taken in case you are being tracked so your information is not accessed by scammers.
There's several forms of online tracking that aren't as wonderful as others, because if that data falls into the wrong hands, like a scammer, they just have so much information about you. And so one of those is the cookies, those small pieces of data that attach to your web browser and can be accessed by websites you visit. And another is device fingerprinting, which uses your browser's unique configurations and settings to track your activity. And apps on your computer or phone often have their own tracking systems as well. But you can control some of that by clearing your cookies and looking at the security and privacy settings on your device so you aren't tracked and that data isn't being collected. But you have to counterbalance and weigh the unique features and conveniences that you are trading off for not being tracked, but at the same time, your data isn't being collected and stored by other companies and potentially scammers.
Michelle Reinen suggests what to do with cookies on your computer and mobile devices.
You need to decide what cookie setting you want to have on your devices, because how much data do you want a site that you're just browsing by versus one you're going to regularly, and you maybe want them to remember something for your convenience versus a one-stop looky-loo at a site type situation. So really determine and control what you are handing over.
If you have concerns about website tracking your activity or have had information stolen because of tracking, you can contact DACAP's Consumer Protection Hotline by phone at 1-800-422-7128 or by email at datcphotline@wi.gov. The Wisconsin Department of Agriculture, Trade, and Consumer Protection is reminding farmers and manure applicators to check the runoff risk advisory forecasts before spreading manure on fields. This tool helps determine the potential for manure runoff from a field depending on weather conditions and soil temperature. Users can access this tool at manureadvisorysystem.wi.gov/runoff-risk/index. The Runoff Risk Advisory Forecast includes maps showing short-term runoff risk for manure application. The maps account for soil saturation, temperature, and precipitation on a scale of 1.5 square mile grids. The risk maps are updated 4 times daily with the latest information from the National Weather Service. Farmers should contact their crop consultant or county land conservation office for help identifying alternatives to high-risk spreading. Larger farms with a permit can also reach out to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources. These professionals can help identify fields where the risk is lower and alternative practices, such as stacking manure in a safe location. DACAP also reminds manure haulers and drivers to put safety first when traveling on roadways in order to avoid spilling manure, prevent injuries, and protect the health of people and the environment. All agriculture and livestock operations must report spills or runoff that have the potential to impact surface or groundwater to the DNR's 24-hour emergency spills hotline at 1-800-943-0003. More information about planning and prevention is available at dnr.wi.gov/topic/agribusiness/manure spills.com.